got, what, 4 days, right? Four full Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Election Day. Hopefully we'll know that night that he won in a landslide. Could happen, but a lot of things could happen. That's my hope, all right? This is an opinion-driven news and commentary show, and that's my opinion and hope. And what a campaign it's been. It's been, I think the word is epic. Elon Musk suggested this has been epic, and he's right. So impressive, majestic, heroic. The stuff that has happened to him over the past, what, year and a half, 10 years, really, when you think about it. It's coming in for a landing. And we, on this show, we've been there every step of the way, right? Watching and sometimes sitting down with the man himself, like a year and a half ago. I always wanted to put it to him, and I did. How about reaching out to the other side, right? Unifying the country, which I believe he is so poised to do. But I learned something very important when I asked him this question.
Talking to the left, that's something you could do. You could reach out to the left.
I just want what's good for the country. That would be good for the country. Now, I have to tell you, with that being said, if they're going to want open borders where anybody can come in from prisons and from mental institutions and hundreds of thousands of people pouring in, I'm never going to be able to support that.
Yeah. I just learned, you know, unity for unity's sake is really not what we're looking for. There are certain things that are non-negotiable. You need that border. You can't be sexualizing children, right? Certain non-negotiables. And that's when we can talk about unity, once we've established those things and a lot more. Oh, by the way, let's see. Earlier this year, I sat down with him, and I'm actually quite proud of this question. This is, what, 3-4 months before he was shot.
These cases were designed to destroy you.
Yes.
And they've helped you. And some of us actually, we see, I know my audience and me too, we see that you're protected, maybe even by the hand of God. Has that ever crossed your mind?
I believe that if this didn't happen, perhaps they miscalculated and perhaps they haven't. Because don't forget, it's not over yet. But there is some kind of a protective force, because you look at what I've been hit with. These are horrible people.
A protective force, God. And he's been hit with all this stuff, and he's gotten stronger. A little bit after that, we had him on the phone, and the rhetoric, you know, what they were saying about him, it was getting more and more intense. And I just said, look, I think they got a literal target on your back.
These Democrats want you dead. You realize that?
Yeah, because I'm the one that turns things around.
That really bothered people. I mean, just you can't say that. What do you mean you can't say that? That's what they're lusting for. How dare you bring up that these Democrats want you dead? Well, let's see, it was 2-3 months later that, yeah, a Democrat donor, that Crooks guy on the roof, maybe with an assist from Iran, we don't know yet, opened fire. And then the other attempt. President Trump down on the ground. They did try to kill him. And he's not out of the woods yet. He'll never be, really, when you think about it. But that protective force, this horror, and then the iconic survival. But that was so close, so close. He could have died. And of course, the government is not up to snuff. You know, we don't know the full scope of the failure that day, and maybe the conspiracy. We don't know. We know this. The government failed him. The Secret Service, here's just one component of it. When he gets in the car, right? This is after he's been shot, after it's taken him about 2 minutes to put him in the car. Watch what happens. See, this is when you press the gas and you get the hell out of there. Because there could be a team of terrorists. They could have bombs. They could have missiles. Why isn't that car going fast? What's happening there? This is the American government. This is representative of our pathetic American government. A huge emergency like this. What? Are you kidding me? You don't know the full scope of his injuries yet. The car is still within view. 44 seconds, 45 seconds. Hello, where are we going? You know what we found out later? Get this. They didn't have directions to the hospital. They did not know where the hospital was. They knew there was a hospital that they were supposed to go to in the case something bad happened to the president, But how to get there? Well, they didn't have cell service, so their cell phones couldn't, right? The GPS, they didn't know which way to go. America. All right. Anyway, real quick. When John Hinckley shot Reagan 12 seconds before that limo got out of the scene. Kennedy about 8 seconds before the limo was clear of Dealey Plaza. And John Hinckley is walking around right now. Something's so wrong, right? And, as bad as the assassination attempt, because I knew he was going to survive right away. You saw him. You know what really rocked my world? This, August 8th, 2022. You remember that date? Maybe not. I'll never forget it. The FBI raided Mar-a-Lago. In total violation of his constitutional rights. They went in there, violated his privacy, took a bunch of stuff that was rightfully his. I couldn't believe that happened in America and the FBI. I was a little bit afraid that day. And the documents that they staged, they brought this stuff in with them to make it appear that it was guilty, that it was reckless, putting it on the floor. No, they were guilty, the FBI. They were reckless. All designed to give Joe Biden the opportunity to be the ultimate hypocrite.
When you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago, what did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
How that could possibly happen. How anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
This is how you know God is watching and is ultimately in control, right? That moment, Joe Biden illegally had documents in his office, in his summer house, in some warehouse, in his regular house, all over the place, in his garage. And when confronted by the facts, he has the nerve to be indignant about the whole situation and braggy about that silly car of his.
Classified material next to your Corvette? What were you thinking?
Let me, I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street.
So
but anyway,
was in a locked garage.
Yes, as well as my Corvette.
The arrogance, right? And what he did with those documents, very secret documents, right? Classified stuff about Iraq, Afghanistan, just dumped in the garage. Everybody has a messy garage, probably not that messy, that's pretty bad. These are precious secrets. That guy investigated. He found out that this was real stuff that could have compromised, that did compromise national security. Left it in a box. Where did President Trump have his documents staged? Look at that, literally on a stage in one of the most secure locations in the world, Mar-a-Lago. God is in control, and he's watching everything. And right after, earlier this week, some people thought that the Trump campaign was going to be derailed because some comedian made a joke. Well, Joe Biden actually told the truth, what he thinks about the American people, and nobody talks about the comedian anymore.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Half the country. So that comedian, what's his name? Does anybody know his name? Nobody knows his name. They try to make that the biggest story in the world. I actually have nothing against the comedian. He made that one joke about Puerto Rico, fell flat. Nobody actually understood the point. It was actually satire about the neglect of Puerto Rico. But Joe Biden, everybody knows him and what he said about everybody. I think that's the bigger story, don't you? Yeah, and I think God understands that too. I know he does. All right, so the Trump campaign does what it does. You got to take these opportunities and milk them a little bit.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
It is so classic. It is so brilliant. How do they get that garbage truck brand spanking new and clean? The campaign manager is going to join us in a little bit to tell us how they arranged that. So it's a perfect moment. Joe Biden has disgraced himself and Kamala Harris. So how do they get out of this one? Well, they try to say that this somehow was bad for Trump. I don't see it. Do you? This is what they saw the problem as.
All right, guys.
So what happened there? I didn't see anything wrong. He got in the car, climbed up the ladder there. Listen to what they're saying.
Well, it was garbage day in the presidential campaign with garbage man Donald Trump actually climbing, I should say, stumbling into a garbage truck.
He's an old guy. I felt sorry for him struggling with the garbage truck yesterday.
He dressed up as a garbage man. He could not get into the cab. Okay? Kind of makes you want to see his medical records, doesn't it?
Whoopi, he got into the cab, no problem. You used to be cool about 40 years ago. Forget that. He got right in. Now, I had to look at it a couple of times, and this is what they're trying to make the issue, right? This momentary thing, go ahead and roll it, where he seems to, I don't know, I still don't really get it. Is this the issue? All right. So that's it. Grabs the handle. Can we talk about the handle for a second? Not for nothing, but it's not the regular handle, right? That's on a car. It's vertical. It's a little bit different. You see that? It's vertical. It's straight up and down. It's different from most car handles, which are horizontal. I could see him slipping there for a second. Can you? It doesn't matter. He didn't slip. You want to talk slipping and fall? Let's compare that momentary jostling with the car handle before he gets up in that damn thing by himself, doesn't need any help, with a real klutz, actually worse than a klutz, a pathetic fool who never should have been president.
This dude.
Wins? Who wins, huh? Then, wow. Amazing things. Hey, remember this guy? I think his name is Walls something, right? Yeah, he's still out there running for vice president. A guy who lies all the time about China, about high school, coach, no coach, been to war, not been to war. Check this out.
This dude's nearly 80 years old. He damn near killed himself getting into a garbage truck. And so...
He's 78 years old. You're 60. 60s, 70s. You guys are both senior citizens. It's not a big deal. Don't be so ageist. And you look terrible, oh, by the way. And you were intimidated and scared, and the whole world saw it. Gulp. You couldn't handle it. Whether you're 60 or 16 or 96, Tim, you don't have it, and you never will. And Donald Trump, with his words, he blew apart your Democrat Party, right? He blew it apart. He exploded it, just showing up. He obliterated the Democrat Party and that scheme you've been hiding a long time there. All right, so it's been epic, don't you think? Truly epic. And it's been a privilege to talk to you over all these many years now, all right?